Just tell me. Hell yeah. We live, man. Hood Heroes TV. I'm here with Ian. What's going on, bro? It's been a while, man.
It's been a while, bro. How you been?
Man, everything wonderful, bro. No complaints, bro. We here.
Check,
We here,
check.
bro. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. A lot's been happening these days.
Man, tell me about it, bro. A lot going on. It never stops, man.
Never stops.
So we was having a conversation, and you was mentioning that the mother. You wanted to discuss the mother of Pan Africanism.
Yeah.
So, what was your thought process on that, and why do you think that's a story that needs to be told?
The mother of Pan Africanism, Anna J. Cooper, Anna Julia Cooper. Um, this was just something recent I found out. I didn't know. Hadn't always known, but you, you could kind of through deductive reasoning give give kind of the inference that there is a feminine energy, all right, behind Pan African rather than a masculine energy. And I say that because a masculine energy, in terms of building, in terms of networking, right? A masculine energy is not necessarily one where it's where when you think about up and moving to build, the masculine energy is really about building where you are, and then after you build, make connections with other builders. Where Pan Africanism really doesn't have a foundation. What it does, it seeks to make connections, but not necessarily having anything to offer. I would say on either side of the equation, on the African side or on the African American side.
Okay, and you say, what's her name? Anna.
Anna J. Cooper.
She's instrumental in that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
All right.
she had the first conference here in the United States. She was during. Let's see, the conference was. I'll have to pull that up, but she's back before she was born, back before 1900,
Okay.
and I think the conference may have been. I could be wrong. Maybe in 1898, perhaps.
Okay. All right. So I'm finna share my screen.
Okay.
So Anna J. Cooper,
Hmm.
who was a mulatto. She had some black in her.
Mm.
Yeah. Can you see my screen or
I can
no?
see your. I can see it.
All right. So yeah, Hold on. Let me see something. You can see my screen. Okay, we on the side. Okay, got you. So yeah, Anna Julia Cooper was an American. Hold on, let me stop tripping. Tripping. Was an American author, educator, sociologist, speaker, black liberation activist, and one of the most prominent African American scholars in United States history.
Hmm.
Born into slavery in 1858, Cooper went on to receive a world-class education and claim power and prestige in academic social circles. Upon receiving her PhD in history, in history, let's see, from Sorbonne in 1924, Cooper became the fourth African American woman to earn a doctoral degree. She was also a prominent member, wow, the fourth African American woman, period, to earn a doctoral degree. She
Hmm.
was also a prominent member of Washington, D.C.'s African American community and a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha.
Okay.
Cooper made contributions to social science fields, particularly in sociology. Her first book, A Voice from the South by a Black Woman of the South, is widely acknowledged as one of the first articulations of Black feminism, giving Cooper the often used title of the mother of Black feminism. Now, where does the Pan Africanism come in at? Because I named this program the mother of Pan Africanism. So,
Hmm.
how can we tie her
Because
to
she
Pan?
because she is said also to be the mother of Pan Africanism too as well.
Okay. In 1900, she made her first trip to Europe to participate in the first Pan African Conference in London.
Hmm.
After visiting the cathedral towns of Scotland and England, she went to Paris for the World Exposition.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So on another site, they do mention her as the mother of Pan Africanism.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah.
So yeah. So I mean, there goes the connection there. She's both feminist and both Pan Africanist.
Right.
They say that she is the mother of both.
Right. Right. So, I want to see. Let me stop sharing. But I want to see. I want to find some saying this. This is a research show. I want to find some saying she's the mother of Pan Africanism.
Okay, okay.
But yeah.
Look at one of look at one of the links I shared to you.
All right.
That I sent.
Okay.
And the way I found out about this was here in the West End, where you had the movement builders and you had this Anna J. Cooper nonprofit, both sharing a space and having a collaborative effort. And I thought it was quite unusual. But then maybe a couple days later, there was a debate between the movement builders, who are Pan Africanists, and between Be the Power.
Okay. So the movement builders, and it's them same brothers in the West End. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, yes. They were working out of the same nonprofit location. Yeah.
All right. So it's right here. Um,
Hmm.
why this forgotten black woman is the real mother of Pan Africanism.
Yes.
So Anna Cooper, born, yeah. So it goes into it. Same thing we read earlier. As an organizer, Dr. Anna J. Cooper helped launch the Colored Women's League in 1892, and she organized the first Pan-African conference as part of the executive committee in 1900. Her examinations of white supremacy formed the foundations of Pan-Africanism that we stand on today. It is for these reasons that Anna Cooper should be remembered, recognized, and revered. Okay, so
Hmm.
there you go.
There it is.
So why, in your opinion, why is there a conflict of interest of her being the
A feminist.
mother? Why couldn't she be both? Why couldn't she be the mother of black feminism and black Pan-Africanism? What's wrong with that, man?
I mean, the whole idea of Pan Africanism, which I guess, or I guess what's at fault with Pan Africanism, which we got from ADOS teachings and so on and so forth, is that there's no tangibles on either side to exchange. There's no tangibles in terms of political power, and there's no tangibles in terms of economic power. So if we do have an exchange, you know, we're going to lose. We're going to lose out. You know, partly in terms of the political capital, because for the most part, Africans have not really developed a political framework here in the United States that can benefit us. You know, for the most part, you know, as we know, you know, they're mostly tribal and separate in their ideologies, even within their own countries. You know,
Right.
and the countries on the continent, they're not even together. You know what I'm saying? So the idea of us coming together with them, and they don't have that same frame of mind, you know, we're at a loss.
Right. It's totally unrealistic.
Totally unrealistic. You know, but the problematic aspect where the feminism comes in is because the framework of feminism is that feminism demands without actually putting skin in the game. You know,
Right.
so feminism is more of a we are all one, united, without actually going through the process of vetting those who are supposedly our allies. You know, where you had in the case of the Black Panther. What's the Black
What's
Panther?
up, Shamika? What's good?
Um, what's the Black Panther? The chick that was rooting for Kamala Harris. And she's married to the white woman.
Um, the chick that's rooting for Kamala Harris, and
She's married to the white woman.
she was in Black Panther.
She was a Black Panther. Yeah. Angela
Um,
Davis.
Angela Davis. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. You know, because in her own words, she said, you know what, she knows Kamala Harris is problematic based on her record alone, just based on her record. You know what I'm saying? Her mass incarceration, you know, and you know the atrocities that she oversaw, you know, in California as the AG, as Attorney General. She said of Kamala Harris, knowing that she's problematic, she says that despite being problematic, she said that for the sake of feminism and moving the cause of feminism along, she had no problem backing Kamala Harris. You know, but that goes against the interests of Black people as a whole, especially Black men. So
Right.
what I'm saying is where it gets into the Pan Africanism. Pan Africanism, you know, has this problematic nature because you have actually groups and potential and supposed allies who are not really digging, you know, African Americans and reparations and so on and so forth.
No doubt.
So there's no vetting process, you know, in that frame. So Pan Africanism Pan Africanism has an allegiance to Pan Africanism where there's never been any real fruit that was born from it. But you still have people who are committed to it without seeing that fruit, and that's the same way feminism looks upon its networking. You know, it just networks just based on the ideology and not really looking at the pros and the cons.
Right. And you got to look at the pros and the cons.
Hmm.
You know.
Yeah.
Kareem Thoughts from Atlanta Boundless said Martin Delaney came before her.
Hmm.
And you say she might be a daughter, but she ain't the mother of nothing. You know? Yeah.
But see, that's feminism. They gonna take credit.
You know? He also said both sides just got free in the 1960s. This is crazy if y'all don't see the benefits of working together. So
I get that. You know, working together is one thing, but the question is who's doing the work. You know what I'm saying? What Africans do you know that are actually working, you know, for the cause of African Americans here in America? I don't know any. I don't know any.
yeah.
You know what I'm
See,
saying? Just flat
at
out.
the end of the day, I think that it's like once we establish who we are,
Mhm.
the rest of the world, the rest of the planet will respect us even more, you
Mhm.
know. But
Mhm.
you just can't allow yourself to not stand on anything and think that the world is going to respect you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I I'm convinced that our brothers and sisters all over the planet will say, "Wow, okay, they know who they are.
Yeah.
They standing on their own 2 feet. They're
Mm-hmm.
gonna respect us. Period.
Mm-hmm.
You know, um, it is what it is.
Right.
They're
But
gonna be.
the problematic nature is that we can't be respected, first of all and foremost, because black men in America have not established themselves as a force unto ourselves like every other group of men. Every other group of men on the planet, the men are put forth in front, and all of their accomplishments and strengths is what actually is the backbone of the political framework used to ally or to go to war. Where in the case here in America, you basically have black females at the head. You know what I'm saying? And that's the problematic nature. So, okay, there's nothing wrong with female leaders, but when you have female leaders at the expense of putting forth the strengths of black males, you can't really make a honest exchange because again you're talking about doing networking on a you love me and I love you, let's get together, but that's not how real life works. You know what I'm saying? Real life work is there has to be a tangible benefit that I get on my side, and there has to be a tangible benefit on their side.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be tangible, man. At the end of the day, it's got to benefit. You know, that's real allyship, though.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
and it's got to be reciprocal.
Mhm.
Everybody need to be getting something out of it.
Yeah.
It's warfare to divide us, to keep us divided.
Mhm.
Just like we see, you know, Goldman Sachs, Visa,
Mhm.
saying we're going to give so and so money to black women. That's strategic
Yeah.
because they're trying to cause a division. We
Right.
learned from the Black Panthers. They were feeding women and children. The U.S. government said, no, we can't have any of that. We're going to feed black women and children.
Mhm.
And that's really the reason why they got annihilated. It wasn't the fact that they was walking around at the state capitol with guns.
Right.
That wasn't it.
Right.
They were actually feeding women and children.
Right. But
They said,
that was
these
something
folks are going to
tangible.
be a problem. Say
That was
what?
something that was something tangible. You know what I'm saying? And that's where I get at, and where I make where there's an obvious connection between feminism and Pan Africanism is that you have most of the arguments on the Pan African side are based on theory and conjecture. You know what I'm saying? They're not really talking about, okay, we have this money over here, you have that money over there, we have this land over here, you have that land over there. There's no conversations like that. You know what I'm saying? So when the brother comes on and saying we're supposed to work together, first of all, we're not even working for ourselves, let alone talking about working together. The only work that's being done is running our mouth. You know what I'm saying? There's no actual on the ground efforts because first of all, we haven't built anything of our own to say, okay, you know what, let's trade this and let's trade that. If you're talking about dollar for dollar, okay, you know what I'm saying? That's fine. Okay, you got money, we got money. But most black people don't even have this buy black, do for self framework anyway. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
And
To even make that, in terms of if we're just looking to trade money, that's not even going to work itself.
And we're gonna get to do for self. We're gonna get to do for self in a minute. We are gonna cover that. But Kareem, he says you're missing a lot of history. Why not pick a city in the U.S. and a city in Africa and build a global partnership? Kareem, I think I'm all for us having a partnership with our brothers on the continent. I am. But the thing about it is, we have to have something to bring to the table. So we need to build us. But I'm all for having relationships, global relationships with our brothers and sisters all over the
Right.
planet. But We got to have something to bring to the
We gotta
table.
have
How we gonna have what's a global relationship? What's a partnership when the when only one partner got something to offer? We don't even have anything to offer. We don't
none of
even
it.
control any industries. We're not even at the point where we can have a partnership. It would be more of a subordinate role.
Hmm.
It wouldn't be an equal partnership. And you always in a partnership in a balanced capacity, or you're gonna be in a compromised position.
Well,
That's my pushback for
well, yeah,
you,
that's
Kareem,
a
on that.
pushback, and that's again, that's a feminist ideological viewpoint. Because feminists are like, you know what? I want equality.
Thank
Give me this. But the thing is, black men are
You
like,
done? You want
we're
more?
gonna give you
you. Okay.
thus and so forth,
I can have
right?
one.
You
That's
know
a
what
swallow.
what as far as what black women are asking of black men. But the thing is, black women are not offering anything, you know what I'm saying, in exchange for what for all the equalities that they want. They're not offering black men, you know, in the same kind. They're not asking us what we want. So again, that's a feminist mindset that demands, you know what I'm saying, but actually is not putting skin in the game. And so when a Pan African is talking about doing work, you're talking about doing, you're talking about making demands, but you know what I mean. But you're not putting no skin in the game. None of the Pan Africans I know and I've heard of, you know what I'm saying? What money are they putting, you know, where their mouth is? You know what I'm saying? Where are they investing in Africa? You know what I'm saying? You're telling you want to promote a theory of Pan Africanism. You want people to get on board. First, show me where you have first invested your time and money in Africa. All right. Second, show me where an African has invested their time and money in America. And what I'm saying is that is a male perspective, and that's not shitting on Pan African. That's just a male perspective. Before we're anything, as we have to be black men, and a black man is going to be like, you know what do I have? Then he's going to be like, okay, what do you have? You know what I'm saying? Even if you have these debates ideologically, they mean nothing if no one has anything in their hand. Only the feminists, right? A black feminist would be like, you know what? Let's do this without having anything and building and having anything built on our part, and or on the part of the other people we're allying with.
Okay. Kareem says we have the capital. So my question is, what? Okay, we have capital. All right. So this is my thing, Kareem. I'm all for us connecting with brothers and sisters on the continent and us having a relationship. I think that's wise in the long run when you're talking about the amount of black folks globally. It globally makes sense when you talk about the population of Africa being the youngest population on the planet. Yeah, I definitely think that that's a great idea, but like I said, Kareem, we're not at that point when we're not even taking care of ourselves the way we should.
Right.
Our energy needs to be focused on building here. Now, for all the Pan Africanist brothers that believe that that's the move, then y'all need to create those relationships with Africa and get it going. You know, get it going. And
Hmm.
when y'all do,
Then you can
that's
sell it.
what's up.
Then you can
Then
sell it. You got to build it
yeah,
before you sell it. That's
yeah,
I'm gonna
get
say
it.
it. And
Yeah,
then again,
get.
that's how a man, that's how a black man, you know what I'm saying, versus a black woman is going to view this. You got to build it before you selling it first. You know what I'm saying? That's the problematic nature of having feminism being at the forefront in the leadership of Pan Africanism. You ain't built nothing. You can't sell me something that you don't have. You know what I'm saying? You arguing and fight with me as your brother over a philosophy, but brother, you ain't got nothing to share. You know what I'm saying? You don't have nothing to show to be like, you know what? Come on board with this. Why I'm gonna come on board? Because you think just because I'm not with Pan Africanism, that means that I'm a coon or I'm a sellout. That's not how that works. You know what I'm saying? Only feminism is able to make these judgments Because feminists be like, you know what? If you're not for me as a black woman getting 10 billion from Goldman Sachs, if you're not for me as a black woman getting $10,000 grants from Visa, if you're not for me as a black woman getting 100,000 positions in these digital marketplace schools, then you must be against black women. No, that's not how that works. I'm just thinking strategically. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking strategically, how is it that, you are the only one to gain in this? And if I object to the fact that this is a one-sided deal, you're gonna tell me that I don't like black women. And it's the same thing with Pan-Africanism. So you have the same feminist mindset saying, okay, since you're not for us doing for Africa, you must be a coon and you must be want to be a white person. And that's so far from the truth.
All right, Kareem, you say it has to be focused on both sides, assuming no, I bought acres in South Georgia to develop, and I am in the process of getting citizenship in Sierra Leone about freehold land over there. Hey, I'm with it, man. If you do it, salute.
Yeah.
Salute. If you do it, I mean, when you do it, I'm happy for you.
Mhm.
I have no issues with that.
Mhm.
Get your citizenship in Sierra Leone, and I have no issues with anybody over there. Any move we trying to make, I ain't got no issues. But I'm here, so I'm gonna fight the fight here, and that's just the move that I'm making. And guess what? You set that up over there. I'm gonna get this right over here, and let's do trade. Let's do commerce. I'm with it, Kareem. I'm with it. Let's do commerce. You say you bought it. He say he already. You bought acres in South Georgia, and you in the process of getting land in Sierra Leone. I'm with it. I'm
Okay.
with it, man.
Hey.
Keep me posted, bro, cause we need that.
Yeah.
Cause a lot of that's better than a lot of brothers. They say, hey, I'm leaving over here. I'm going over there, and I'm not thinking about you niggas.
Mhm.
So you're not one of them. So I salute what you're doing. I ain't got
Yeah.
no issues with that.
Yeah. I mean, there is no issue. The point is, once you have something tangible and you built something, the natural outlets and directions of which you're gonna go, you know what I'm saying, to buy or sell or trade, that's just gonna be that. I mean, that's gonna be common sense. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be common sense. Once you have something tangible, you're gonna go to the greatest market. You know what I'm saying? In the most loyal market that you're gonna go to. You know what I'm saying? That's just a given. The problem is that we don't have nothing built. How are we going to talk market politics and theory, and we don't have the capital? You know what I'm saying, to even do that? And that's why I get into this whole idea of feminism. You don't have nothing, right? You got black women saying, you know what, I demand this, I demand that under feminism. But you know what? You don't have nothing to make no demands though. To say I need to get on board with this and get on board with that. Men do not think that way. You know what I'm saying? I can't go to another man and tell you to believe what I believe just because I want you to believe it. You know what I'm saying? That's not how grown men think and behave. You know what I'm saying? That's how feminists is like, I just want you to believe what I want. You know what I'm saying? If you don't believe what I want, I'm mad at you and I'm gonna call you this and I'm gonna call you that. No, no, that ain't how it works. Because even at the end of the day, if I don't even like you, right? If I see that you're a man and you're building something and I'm building something and it's to my benefit to work with you, I'm going to do that, man. That's how grown men behave. So this ideological wing and aspect of Pan African is trying to train us to be a certain way without the practical underpinning. That's just ridiculous. That's all I'm saying. And what I'm saying is that's not really training men and moving men to think in the way that they need to think. It would be better that we didn't become Pan African and became men first, right? And thought and behaved as men before we went over to Africa, like in the movie Coming to America. acting like simps, and conquersors. You know what I'm saying? That's just ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we might bring our money over to Africa, but what manhood are we bringing over there? You know what I'm saying? We got to ask ourselves that. You know what I'm saying? Are we bringing manhood over there? You know what I'm saying? Because coming to America sees it different. Coming to America too says, you know what I'm saying? It's feminism is what's going to benefit Africa. And I don't know how many people saw the movie, but it's clear. It's clear that feminism wants to use Pan Africanism, and it wants to use this Pan African perspective to basically grow their movement and their demand. And so that's not a benefit to Africa, and that's not a benefit to black men in America who have not first found out what it means to be a man before. So we're talking about political capital. We're talking about financial capital. But what about manhood capital? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? We're not even fully acting like men here. Why are we going to go somewhere else, right? And bring the cancer, what I'm saying, of LGBTQ and feminism into Africa. You know what I'm saying? That's just gonna destroy Africa, even with the money there. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't benefit anybody in that case.
Yeah, we have to we have to get behind what we all agree on, because it's so many different ideologies.
Hmm.
We're never going to convert everybody to one, because we're
Hmm.
not a monolithic people.
Right.
We're not monolithic. We all different. We all got different beliefs. We all got hella different ideologies. We're tribal as people. We're as tribal as the continent of Africa at the
Hmm.
end of the day.
Hmm.
Everybody got their set. Everybody got their uh, religious system. Everybody got their different political aspect. But if we can all get behind the fact that no, we need to focus on who we are as a lineage
Hmm.
in every way, politically,
Hmm. We got to build something.
family wise, we have to build. We
Yeah,
have
we
to
just got to
start
build something.
building. But we can't build without the politics though.
Right.
And I'm finna pivot because I want to get let me before I pivot, let's see what Kareem says.
Okay.
Brother, we never had an issue with your woman until we started following. We never had an issue with our woman until we started following Europeans.
Hmm.
No, I feel you. Like, so that's no, I don't have no agreement with that. I think
I do,
that,
but you know what? I got to push back on that.
okay,
because
go ahead.
because
Go
he's
ahead.
talking about not going back through history. Understand the way that he just framed that, right? He said we never had a problem until we started following Europeans. First of all, you're not following a European when you're in chattel slavery. That's not following. That's slavery. You know what I'm saying? So slavery has bred into us a certain way of being, and you can't even call that following is not even something that you could. We don't even have the luxury of saying that we're following anyone. It's bred into us the Willie Linston. You know what I'm saying?
That's
Follow.
facts.
You know what I'm saying? So, and that's what the problem I have with Pan African is because it's everything they're saying is so theory based, right? Look at the practical situation that we came from. We came from chattel slavery with Willie Lynch baked into our DNA, right? So first of all, you're talking about Pan African is going to get us free before we actually get our chains off. That's backwards. You understand what I'm saying? That is not the way a grown man should think. You know what I'm saying? Let me follow an ideology to get these chains off. No, man, a man is like, you know what? How do I get these chains off? I need to, you know what I'm saying? Let me get this hammer and this chisel. You know what I'm saying? That's how a man thinks. And what I'm saying is the way that you're going to be able to build the bridge gap between Africa and America, you have to build men, not ideology. And what I'm saying is Pan African is spending too much time trying to build and debate ideology. the same way feminists are trying to do, trying to build and debate ideology without actually doing anything. You know what I'm saying? Without actually being practical and saying, you know what? Based on the practical nature of my situation and the practical nature of your situation, let's do this. You know what I'm saying? Because the whole idea of you're black and I'm black, that's a theory. You know what I'm saying? There's so many theories surrounding race. You know what I'm saying? There's so many theories, right? But at the end of the day, we do know that black people in Africa and black people in America are both catching hell from Europeans. We do know that. But that's still not enough for us to come together. You know what I'm saying? Because we still have to look at what stage that we're in. You know what I'm saying? What stage of freedom in terms of mental freedom and in terms of physical freedom before we talking about allyship. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to ally myself with someone who got one foot in the grave. You know what I'm saying? Even if I like that person over there in Africa, if they got one foot in the grave, I can't do that. You get what I'm saying? Because I'm still over here struggling. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't make sense as a man to be like, you know what? You know how they got us trying to be the hero of the Democratic Party before we even save ourselves. You know what I'm saying? That's the mindset. You can take this faulty mindset and apply it anywhere. We cannot save anyone else before we save ourselves. You understand what I'm saying? Grown men think like that. Feminists, they got a different way of doing things. So that's why they're the head of the Democratic. In the black community, they're the heads in terms of being Democrats, and in the Pan African community, they're the heads as well because they're talking about theory and they're not looking at the practical nature. We have to save ourselves first before we talking about who is going to be our ally.
Yeah. You dealing with one word, and that was the one word that he said that you have an issue with is following Europeans.
Right.
But aside from that, I understand what he was saying. We didn't have a problem until we had this issue with Europeans.
Mm-hmm.
But that's to your point that our issue with our women goes directly into it stems from white oppression,
Yeah.
you know?
And
So,
that's not theoretical. That's like,
right,
man, you in chains, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm
right.
saying? That ain't choosing to be black or white, European or African. You in chains, you can't do shit. You know what I'm saying? They got the woman in chains, she can't do anything, right? They let the woman out of her chains and leave the man in his chains another century. You know what I'm saying? So the woman is going free, and we're getting back in chains under mass incarceration and convict leasing. We got a whole nother century in chains again. You know what I'm saying? So they putting our women ahead because we got re-enslaved as black men. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't about us following nobody. You know what I'm saying? The situation we're in with our women is because our women are a century ahead of us. You know what I'm saying? That woman she talking about, Anna J. Julia Cooper. You know what I'm saying? She had a degree. You know what I'm saying? Black women were getting educated long before black men were. They were reading a century before we were reading. You understand what I'm saying? It's not about following the European. So when you frame that, you're not being practical about how you approach this issue. You know what I'm saying? They're a century ahead of us in every way, and white supremacy continues to give them benefits ahead of us. This is not about following nobody. This is just when are we as black men going to catch up? You know what I'm saying?
Well,
And, and
let me put it to you like this. Now, I don't believe that they're a century ahead of us. That's a little
right? I'm,
ridiculous.
I,
That's hella ridiculous. So I got to
no,
I got to call bullshit on that. But
no.
there is war. There's a war being waged on black men, and there is they are definitely trying to they're trying to use, how can I say it? They're Goldman Sachs, you know, all of these corporations say, okay, Microsoft, they're trying to create a certain division.
Hmm.
And that's not by chance. That's not because they want black women to win.
Right.
All right. They
Right.
are threatened by masculinity and they threatened by black leadership.
Yeah.
Now, if people don't believe that, let me.
But you know, the point to go with that is that Pan African men are like, you know what? Here in America, white men are not allowing us to be men. So we've been getting pushback on our manhood for 4 centuries. You know what I'm saying? Okay, got you. So the Pan Africans are saying, you know what? What can I give my woman? Because I can't give her nothing under white oppression. So the Pan African man is saying, you know what? I can give her something in Africa. So a lot of this stems from, I hate to say it, almost like a simping type of mentality. It's like you're trying to make promises. You're holding on to this Pan Africanism because you're like, in Africa I can be a man over there. I can promise you I can be a man in Africa. But what I'm telling you from a practical perspective, if you are not a man in America, don't tell me you're going to go to Africa and be a man. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. That's not how a man don't be like, you know what? I think I'm going to be a man 10 years from now. That's not how a man operates.
If folks don't think it's real, this is Fox. State Department spending 592,500 to explore gender identities of boys and men in Kenya. Folks might be like, what they got to do with us? The State Department announces a new 600,000 taxpayer-funded study that suggests ideals of masculinity in Kenya are contributing to terrorism. The department's Bureau of Counterterrorism is seeking a nonprofit group to explore gender identities of boys and men in Kenya. The grant proposal states that men being tough, heterosexual, aggressive, unemotional, and achieving can make them vulnerable to joining Islamic extremist
Bro,
groups.
you just bringing it home.
Right.
You
Now that's the
bringing it
bizarre thing.
you bringing it home. You know what I'm saying?
That yeah,
How you
that's
going to combat
crazy
that?
though. But the most disturbing criteria is you would think it would be the heterosexual be the most disturbing. That's probably the second most disturbing.
Mhm.
The worst one is achieving.
Right.
They don't want men to be achieving, so that lets you know what they're focused on.
Yes.
So if this study, if they came to this conclusion and wanted to bring it to Kenya and they knew that men that are tough, heterosexual, aggressive, unemotional, and achieving can make them vulnerable to can make them a problem. Where do you think they got that from?
Right.
They got that from here.
Yes.
So they had already worked the game over here, and they say, you know what? Let's take this, this show on the road.
Let's export it to Africa.
Exactly. So that right there lets you know that the State Department knows that okay, we got to make sure that these black men don't achieve anything,
Hmm.
and we got to make sure that they're not tough and heterosexual
Hmm.
or aggressive.
Hmm.
So that right there lets you know what we're up against.
Right. Right. And so what you're looking at is a situation. If we go to Africa with the black woman, you think somehow the same play is not going to be made? No, the same play is going to be made. The black woman is going to be courted by white supremacy in Africa as well, right? And they're going to turn against black men then there too. And what I'm saying is the only way that you're going to combat that is to build up black men, right? The only thing that's going to save us is if we build up black manhood here and in
Okay.
Africa.
So this is the trick, and I totally get that. We definitely have to. There is a black male leadership vacuum. All right, I totally agree with that. We definitely have to. We have to build black men. I totally agree with that.
Hmm.
And it's beneficial to everybody, especially our black women.
Yeah,
You know, that's it's not a game.
yeah,
So, and the whole Goldman Sachs thing, we already know what that is. I keep referring back to that because it's a lot of folks patting that on the back.
yeah. They're patting it
But
on the back, and then when you're talking about Pan Africanism, what I'm saying, and the reason why I'm trying to make this correlation between feminism and Pan Africanism is because you have to understand is that Pan Africanist men are putting black women on a pedestal that they don't belong. You know what I'm saying? Yes, we have to honor our women, but not put them on a pedestal. You know what I'm saying? And that pedestal, that fetishizing of the black woman is not going to be healthy. You know, politically ideology. You know what I'm saying? And it's not going to focus, and it's not going to help us to focus on building. And so I'm saying we do not want that to take that to Africa. You know what I'm saying?
well,
Putting
this
the
the
black
thing.
woman on a pedestal.
Okay, so this is my thing. The black woman is to be honored and revered.
Hmm.
Honored and revered. But this is the thing though, it needs to be mutual.
Yes.
It needs to be mutual. You
Yes.
know? So I have no issue with putting the black woman on a pedestal.
Hmm.
But the whole thing about it is the black woman also needs to put the black man on a pedestal as well.
Right. Right.
Because
But you can't.
when you
But
look at that chessboard, we need each other on that chessboard.
right.
So
Right.
it's a
But
balance. They
but see
know
but
this.
but see the
They're
trick.
not the most dangerous thing, though, Ian. Before you go, the most dangerous thing is that they're afraid of out of everything is strong black heterosexual relationships between the black man and the black woman, bro.
Yes. Yes.
That's what they're afraid of.
That's
And
what they're afraid of.
we just read it from Fox saying this is what we're afraid of.
That's what they're afraid of. And what I'm saying, and I'll make a correlation between the Democratic Party. So black women feel that they do not have to they don't have to respect black men, just like in the case of look at the case of Ice Cube. They felt black women felt they did not have to respect the manhood of Ice Cube because he did not go along with the ideological framework of being a Democrat. And so what I'm saying is, for all the benefits of Pan Africanism is saying a black man is someone who subscribes to a certain theory. You understand what I'm saying? So what happens is that the theory, the religion takes the place of manhood. It's saying because black women are going to be like, okay, you're not a man unless you go along with this thought process. You see what I'm saying? And that's where the problematic nature and the bait and switch is going to happen because it always happens and it's in the works as we see. You know what I'm saying? They're going to say if you're not Pan Africanist, you're not a man. You know, and I already saw that with the Be the Power debate against the movement builder. You know, the movement builder men were saying that these African American men who are basically just like them, they were saying that they weren't men based on an ideological framework that they disagreed with. What kind of man do you know can go to another man and say he's not a man just because they have different views on things? When on the ground, their behavior and their movement is just the same. That's problematic. Don't tell me that I'm not a man because I'm not a Democrat. Don't tell me I'm not a man because I'm not a Pan Africanist. Don't tell me I'm not a man based on me not going along with an ideological framework. First of all, that Pan Africans themselves haven't even fully developed. They haven't even fully developed the theory of Pan Africanism. First of all, because they don't have the actual building framework to underpin the ideology in the first place. You know what I'm saying? So when real men give pushback to Pan Africanism based on the practical points of view, they're saying, "Oh, you have a problem with Africans." No, I have a problem with the fact that we don't have shit and we're not moving in a practical manner. You see, that's what I have a problem with. I don't have a problem with Africans, but I'm not going to move like an idiot.
Right. So I wanted to pivot because you mentioned something about do for self a little bit earlier.
Mhm.
And so another game, Kareem, you say we keep skipping factual history. I need you to elaborate on that. And I also would like you to elaborate on what is an Aryan model. You said we can't follow the Aryan model. So let me know what the Aryan model is and be more specific about what factual history that we're skipping.
But before you go, bro, that's the language I'm talking about. You're talking about a model and a framework. What I'm saying, if you are in chains, mentally, emotionally, physically, there's not about no model. You don't use a model to be like, you know what I'm saying, I got chains off, let me knock these. There's no model involved in that. And that's what I'm trying to say.
Right.
Men, you know what I'm saying, with a strong male oriented thinking, do not think like that. Like, oh, you know what, the only way I'm going to get free is if I adopt a certain ideology. That's not real life, bro. You know what I'm saying? This whole idea of theorizing and all this shit, this is new in the history of man. You know what I'm saying? Real men throughout the history of the world, they did because it was necessary to do. It was just like, okay, there's something that need to be built, let me build it. There's something that need to be torn down, let me tear it down. I got chains on, let me take them off. There's no theory involved in this.
He says the Aryan model is speaking on history. The Aryan model is speaking on history, politics, and relationships through a Western civilization viewpoint. So he's saying that, yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. This got to be more than what I'm saying is he's speaking about speaking. Automatically, I don't, maybe I'm the only one. I find it problematic to be saying speaking on speaking. You know what I'm saying? You're not speaking on behavior and actions, you're speaking on speaking. So, what I'm saying is you're moving farther away from actually doing something practical that's gonna get some tangible fruits that we can trade with. Because you're talking about speaking on speaking. You don't like when people speak on this. So who cares what I'm speaking on? The question is, what are you doing and what am I doing? We're not talking about speaking, bro.
Well, he told you what he doing. He buying some land in Georgia. And if he buying some land in South Georgia, all right, we got to call him.
But you ain't got to be a Pan Africanist to buy no land, though. You know what I'm saying? That's
Right
what I'm
on.
saying. Answer that call, man.
Caller. Come in, caller. Damn, let me see. Let me see if I could allow mic access. This my first call, y'all. I feel good about this, but they hung up because I did something wrong.
Damn.
Damn. It said, okay, hold on.
Tell them to
Oh,
call back.
okay. Hey, call back. I think I know what I did wrong. Call back, fam. Call back, bro. Or sis. I don't know.
Yeah, but the brother is doing. But what I'm
This
saying
might
is,
be Kareem. This might be Kareem
yeah, it might be
calling.
Kareem. But so the brother is doing, but the problem is if you want to have an ally, you don't come against me because of a theory. You say, okay, brother, what do you got that we can trade with? And you know what? I'm gonna be like, okay, I got this. Are you willing to trade with me? That's
All right,
it's as simple
Kareem.
as that.
All right, we got Kareem.
All right, let's do it.
Kareem, you on? Yes, sir. Good. I know you tired of all that typing. Come on with it, man. Talk to me, man. I'm glad to have you on, bro. What's happening? What's good? Man, good.
All right, wonderful. All right. First of all, I'm not a Pan-Africanist like you're saying, but I do like history. Now, Marcus Garvey, Marcus Delaney, and others in Pan-Africanism is the one who brought everybody out from darkness. Had with the knowledge of self, you do for self. You saying they haven't done anything, but they had the Black Star Line. They had the Liberia, had the whole Back to Africa movement and the Black Seeds and Black Foundation. So when you look at Greenwood, Rosewood, all that stuff, that's all based on Pan Africanism. So it has already been done. So what I'm saying, so let's not just
Right.
throw our ancestors to the wind like they've been sitting in the dark, not doing anything. There has been laws and stuff acted that directly affect us. Now, all these things were done with the help of the black woman. So we can never downplay what the black woman has done.
Never. I'll never do
And
that.
see, so I know not you, Rain. I forgot the other brother's name right there.
In.
But so that is what I'm saying. The Aryan Mall, you have the ancient Mall and Aryan Mall. This is how they teach in school. The Aryan Mall is when you're speaking from a Western civilization viewpoint. That's like Greece. That's like when people, their mythology are putting stuff against each other. The African Mall be more we work in harmony. So that is a basic difference in mythology, and that mythology turns into your theories, turns into your thought process, turns into your cultural beliefs. Now, as a man, when you stand up, any black woman I have ever met who thought she was a feminist, when she come in my presence after we have a conversation, she realized that this is a man in front of her, she put that feminism down. Because all they're doing is looking for the leadership that was removed. So we're not going to put that leadership back in place by injecting and saying, oh, you a feminist. No, we got to demonstrate.
I agree.
That's what I
I
meant when
agree.
I
You
said
got to demonstrate.
I bought these acres. That's what I meant, like Sierra Leone, a lot of them don't know, they have a Negro clause in their constitution. And the Negro clause, once you go take a DNA test, that's what they put in now. But at first it was just, if you was of African or Negro descent, you had the right to be a Sierra Leone citizen, dual citizenship. See what I'm saying? So this is why I'm focused on Sierra Leone, no one else in Africa. Because over here, we're second-class citizens. Over there, we ain't got to worry about folks. So we go over there, we get our citizenship, we buy our land, we start our businesses. The government,
In
you
the
go
air.
over there for 1 week, the government walk you through how to start a business there. You start your business there, guess what? Right now, some of the people in Sierra Leone are making $50 USD a month for minimum wage. So you take your little money you got over here, your 30,000, whatever you can put on your 50, your 100,000, you put a little bit over there, and you're gonna have your own little network going. The idea here is to do for self. Guess how we do for self? We cut out the middleman, and the middleman is the white supremacist. So we got a bunch of goods over here that they don't have. They got a bunch of stuff over there we don't have. We start shipping internationally. We don't need all these other people. We shouldn't have to wait for a vote every 10 years to make sure we can still vote in our country. Let's go over there. Let's go get it.
All
We're
right.
not worried about what women saying. They're going to see what we're doing.
Hey, I totally agree. It's all about demonstration. It's all about demonstration. And once we demonstrate, we ain't even got to worry about these conversations about black men versus black women. Once we demonstrate and start producing, everything will fall in the line. It's all of that will fall in the line. So I totally agree with you on that, Kareem. I ain't got no issues with you on that. Now I will say this. So
You
I
got to get them
think
on that Marcus Garvey too.
no, that's what I had to speak on. See, though, so this is the thing now. A lot of times we have good intentions, but in reality, we end up having strange bedfellows that's very suspect. Marcus Garvey had some bedfellows that was very suspect. So whether he intended to be a double crosser or not, his bedfellows, who he was rocking with, who he was financed by, was very, very suspect. So I'm not going to straight up call Marcus Garvey an agent, But what I will say is Marcus Garvey was used like a pawn
Mm-hmm.
to get us off this land and try to get us over to Africa.
Mm-hmm.
What do you say about that, Kareem?
All right, I would say this. Now, yes, we was over here, but you got to also remember that right there, that time frame was probably the best environment for us when he was trying to do it. So we got to put everything. I say we skipping a lot of history, so we got to put the things in context. That was the best time frame. Guess who's the biggest agent over here?
Who that?
The Native Americans, the civilized tribes, the ones everybody wanted to claim to be a part of. Oh, I'm part Cherokee, them slaveholders.
Well, see,
Those
this
were the
the
biggest agents. We fought. Hold on, fast. We fought
okay.
with them. We was already here,
Right.
and we fought with them because and they chose to do that 1/8 blood rule, and they went with the lighter skin, and they say, "Oh no, this not your land no more."
Okay.
So the next best thing we could do, if you in a house, nobody wants you there, go make your own house. So
Okay.
that's what I think his true intention was.
But how you gonna leave? How you gonna? I'm sorry, Kareem. How you gonna leave your house to go to someone else's house? If this, you just said we was already here on this land, and it's funny you mentioned the Native Americans because what I'm about to discuss now connects Marcus Garvey directly with the Native Americans. And now you say Native Americans, they was the biggest, they was the biggest agents. I understand what you're saying, but the whole thing about it is we were here the same time that they were. We've been on this, yeah, we've been on this land for a very, very long time. And it predates the slave trade, which it sounds like you know. So for Marcus Garvey to tell us to go to Africa when this is our land is problematic. Now, what's even more problematic is who financed Marcus Garvey in that process. And that was Walter Plecker. You familiar who Walter Plecker was?
No, look them up.
All right. All right, check this out. Let me show you who Walter Plecker was.
All right, go through it. Go through it.
No, got to. So Walter Plecker, paper genocide of Native American and Indian eugenics. All right. Facts before Walter Plecker, paper genocide. Facts before Walter Plecker, paper genocide. Since the beginning of the African slave trade in America, many Native persons, unfortunately, to the detriment of Native heritage, were being listed as black, mulatto, Negro, or just lumped together as colored, which did not allow for a distinction between indigenous and Africans on paper. Now, why was Native Americans being described as black, mulatto, or Negro? Remember, Frederick Douglass was called a little Indian boy. So we already know that we was here and we were not initially labeled as black. We were labeled as Negro. So Walter Plecker in the slavery days, being listed as Negro was done to our native people in order for white slave owners to keep an ample supply of enslaved Africans. Many blood natives have lost a God-given blood heritage due to slavery in southern states, in which approximately 50,000 or more full-blood Native American Indian men, women, and children alike were forced by white slave owners to take part in history. But we know that's bullshit. We already know that's some bullshit because the Negro was already here, who they would call Native American was really Negro.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. So if you think what we just said, we're talking about the $5 Indians. And
Right.
when I said the biggest Native Americans, I'm talking about the civilized tribes.
Right.
That's why I said, remember, I said those are civilized tribes, the one they recognize. the Creek Indians and stuff like that who agreed to participate in slavery, who agreed to breed with them. Then they started this breeding and went like in basically when they got here in 1492. So when you go 300 years, the complexion has been bred out of them.
Right.
That's why when they use the word like swarthy and stuff like that, when you look
Swarthy.
at the word,
Yep.
they mean brown, red, and black.
Black. That's right.
Yeah. So I understand that. That's why I'm saying those were the big co-conspirators.
Right.
But
Mac.
I'm saying,
But check this
yeah,
out. This
yeah.
is
I ain't talking about the natives like us. Like I
right.
did my DNA.
Okay.
My DNA went
Ray,
from
Ray, Ray.
um,
Before
I got
y'all move.
indigenous American
Oh, go ahead.
from Mexico to Arizona.
Okay.
And
Ray.
and what happens is when you I know like a lot of people not prominent, like real big on DNA, but what it does it show an actual linkage. They show my what you call we used to African ancestry to get here around the 1700s.
Hold on. Go ahead. Go ahead, Ian.
So so just to take it left. All right.
Okay.
Understand. So if your litmus test for working with people is whether or not they're an agent, uh, now you have to look at, okay, and based off the criteria you use, okay, what the Native Americans sold us out. All right, who are the ones who sold us out, um, in terms of those who came across on ships? Who were they sold out by? Europeans, or were they actual Africans? Because when you do the history, well, a lot of people don't want to admit, you know, the Moors going up through Africa were helping to Arabs to enslave, and
Right.
then so that they got them and they got the Arab slave trade started, and then Africans were selling Africans, right? You had even without the Moors' influence, you
Right.
had African chiefs selling other black people. Now, see, so your
Yeah.
criteria, you're saying, oh, the Indians, they are agents, they did this, they did that. So if you're going to use that criteria, and that's going to be the
Yeah.
litmus test,
Right.
why would you choose then to work with these same Africans who were the same sellouts in that sense? You see what I'm saying? So that's why Pan Africanism, you're using Pan Africanism saying I have no problem working with Africa, right? I have no problem with you building and then going to Africa to work. But why call it Pan Africanism? Why not be like, you know what? As African Americans, we're going to choose to work with whoever is going to most benefit us. Why does it have to be an ideology built in to where in a lot of cases we're more beholden to them more than they are to us? You understand what I'm saying? I see
No,
that as
that
problematic.
that's problematic. I get your point. But before we go there, I want to go to who Walter Plecker was. So Walter Plecker was responsible for the reclassification of Native Americans to Negroes. That's who Walter Plecker was. He was a staunch racist. So, okay, so check this out. Being that you've done your lineage and you know that you have ancestry that predates the European in North America, Kareem, you know that, right?
Yeah.
Would you have a problem with somebody working with Walter Plecker? Would you have a problem with Walter Plecker financing someone to remove black people from North America to Africa just to get them the hell away from over here?
Okay.
Would you have a problem with that?
I have to answer that like this. Two answers, no, because it really, because I understand it's a loaded question.
Yes, it is.
So, yeah, so that's what I'm saying. We ain't gonna get no yes or no on that one.
I got you.
The problem is it is problematic, but we also have to know, even though Marcus Garvey was a learned man, it was like, did he know that person was doing that, and did he look at surroundings again and say, well, you know what, we're lost over here. Let me save the minute I can. So that's how I would look at that. Now, a lot of people, I just seen a lot of drug dealers, they go and feed families.
All right.
They destroying the hood, but they helping too. So it's almost that same thing where you're kind of forced over here into that out of balance craziness. So I would say that. Now, for a small thing, I said my friend likes to skip over history. Yes, the Moors did attack West Africa, but we need to stop looking at this as a black and Arab thing. These are nations. These are nations building and nations falling. So they wasn't looking at it based on color. These are nations going to war. So once we just put in that perspective, now yeah, you had Africans, what we call Nigeria to get they, with the Songhai Kingdom, they fell to the was the Songhai, I think it was Songhai. Either way, though, the West African Kingdom fell. They got damaged by the Moors. They were able to hold off the Arab and North African invasion, but they were weakened, and then the Portuguese come out their first victory when 1482 of the first in 1480, then 1480 to 1492 come out the victories. They were able to come set up shop in weakened West Africa, where they could never gain no foothold to, based on the Moors attacking Africa. Why did the Moors attack Africa? They ran out of Europe, or what I like to call Western Asia. So that was cause and effect on all this. And then the Sultan from Morocco, he was trying to get down to the gold trade. He wanted the gold, which they still do to this day. Off in Ghana, the country we call Ghana now, because that was the old Ghana would be on the actual coast. But so when we speak about, we got to put it in proper context. It wasn't a black and white thing.
Right.
It was nation.
Right.
But
No doubt.
we never said it was a black and
Back
white
then we
thing.
had 500 nations over here, right? Or more.
Or
But
more. Yeah.
let me answer that
So
because
I can't say that. I can say the Creek Nation. They agreed, and I think that was when the Southern Creeks agreed and the Northern Creeks attacked them. They have the Plantation Society. I might have the names flip flop, but see that so they went to war. Also about this, our brothers who we call Mexicans, those are our actual brothers. Why? Because we all stem from Africa no matter what, because that's the Olmecs. The Olmecs came through and went up through Mexico into Arizona. All they call Prima Indians now. And when the Asians did finally come over their little land bridge, we was already there.
Already here. Yeah. Right. Yeah. We.
So we can't, so when we go that far back, we got to go hit that history for the people who might listen, not fully know.
No doubt.
So yeah, we was already here, but the issue is today, in the last 500 years.
this is. But let me cut in here, Ray. Let me cut in here because we got because I want to.
No, we got to put the linkage there.
I want to solidify what he says.
The Pope removed us from the table of humanity.
Hold on. We need to pause so we can digest what he said.
Hold on, Kareem. Go ahead, Ian.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm loving the education you're giving, right?
Yeah.
My pushback is not what you're saying. The pushback comes as a grown black man. Why do you have to frame your working or your decision to work with those on the continent as a Pan-Africanist view? Especially when you would have just admitted, right, that Marcus Garvey was ignorant of a lot of things. So see, as men, and this is why we need manhood, because as men we have to, you know what? This guy was a little ignorant about what was going on. You see what I'm saying? So understand, if he's talking about Pan-African and he's really ignorant of all the facts and how to move, you see what I'm saying? Why is it that as men we can't say, you know what? Let's not rely on Marcus Garvey, right? We're intelligent enough. You know what I'm saying? We can study history. We can know what to do and what not to do, and what's best in our interest. Why do we have to still put this man almost up as a Jesus Christ like figure, and think that we have to go down his road when we've already established that he was ignorant? Why isn't it that we can't establish our own theories, right, and our own practical way of moving in this country and in the other country without always having to come under this umbrella term Pan-Africanism? You know what I'm saying? Why do we have to keep using that term, especially when that term, since its inception, has not been fully unfolded? You know what I'm saying? What is the necessity in that? And again, that's what I'm saying. The necessity is that you're trying to promise a future based on a theoretical foresight. But we don't need to be theoretical. We just need to build. And I'm saying is, as we build here and now, we don't have to call ourselves Pan-Africanists. We're grown black men, right? We don't have to call ourselves Pan-Africanism. You know what I'm saying? To do business with China, with Africa, with anybody. That's not necessary. You know what I'm saying? All it has to do is that we have to respect ourselves as black men in America, right? And if we do business in Africa, they're going to respect us too. We don't have to get into theorizing and labeling what we're doing. And so
And to your point, Ian, not to cut you off, but that's kind of like what Kareem. That's kind of like what you were saying about feminism. If we just stand up and start producing, then everything is going to take care of itself. That's
yes,
kind of like the whole Pan-African, what I said about, what you just said, Ian, about Pan-Africanism.
exactly,
All we have to
exactly.
do is at the end of the day, all we have to do is start doing the work, and
Yes,
everything else will take care of itself.
yes, yes.
So, can you see where we agreeing, Kareem?
Yeah, yeah, we're agreeing on all we got to do is demonstrate. But
Yeah.
while we're demonstrating, let's not attack our forefathers who made it for us. Let's not attack our women. Just demonstrate and they will follow.
I agree.
Demonstrate and they will understand.
I
You don't
agree.
have to lash out.
I agree. I totally agree. But there's a difference between attack and critique, though, because like it must be understood. Like going back, as you see, Walter Plecker. So Walter Plecker was responsible for this assembly that passed a bill legalizing the sterilization of those classified as feeble-minded, and that's also he sterilized a lot of Negroes, a lot of Native Americans, and that's the whole Virginia sterilization law that the Supreme Court upheld.
And so Ray, as you're saying that,
Okay.
understand when you said that we should be able to give critique, to black women, and that's what I'm saying. When you put up when black women put up the term feminism, they're basically telling you, I don't want your critique, right? And if you give critique, there's going to be problems. And so I get your point about feminism, and I'm not trying to argue that. But what I'm saying is, let's take that same principle and apply it to Pan Africanism. So what happens is Pan Africanists say, "Oh, I'm a Pan Africanist, therefore you cannot critique the way in which I move, right? Decide to move in practical ways, that might actually be, detrimental to black people." You see what I'm saying? That's what's happening. Pan Africans is saying, "Oh, I have this banner, Pan African, is across my forehead. Therefore, you can't say shit about how we should do things." That's crazy.
I'll say this. I don't know what Pan Africanist you have had the displeasure of running into. I have not ran into those types who consider themselves Pan African. Like I told you before I first called on, I'm not Pan African.
Right.
But I understand their principles, and I can agree with a lot of stuff they do. Now, to the
Wait a minute.
feminism
But
thing,
see, that's the problem.
if you
What are
catch
their
if you
principles,
catch
bro?
a woman,
What are their
if a
principles?
feminism is like any other thing you look at. If I come to you and it sounds like a good idea, and you're looking for a sisterhood, a brotherhood, just like any other game. You're like, man, this is the game I'm in right now. I'm gonna stand down, I'm gonna stand strong until someone comes and shows you a different way.
Right.
And that's the only thing I say about feminism. Them black women have been misled. They are diehard feminists. They have been misled and miseducated because they are striving to be European, whether they know it or not.
Right.
So you're saying, so they don't understand that these are the same white women who own their grandmothers, the same white women who cut their grandmother's faces, who cut their grandma's teeth off after they husband raped them multiple times. See, because we're not teaching the history. If a black woman knew the history, she'll know that woman can't be her friend. They can only be business associates at the most.
Yeah. Yeah.
But since
And
they
so
don't know,
so so, so
they fall
Kareem,
into a
so
process
Kareem,
of
but listen, listen.
sisterhood, really being based on their vagina and nothing else.
So
And
Kareem,
they don't know it
I,
though. And
let,
then
let me
we
let
come
me
to
let me
them
ask
and
Kareem a
we
question.
aggressive and we mad. No, all we got to do is come to them and educate them. Hey, so this what's going on. It might take a minute, but guess what? They'll be like, oh, you know what? I didn't look at it that way
So Kareem,
because
let me.
they are just in a spot of not knowing. And then if you know, like some of these colleges down here and around, they specialize in turning black women out and black men out, while they call themselves schools of higher education.
Right.
Right. But so let me tie this in. So my point being, when you're saying the African Yurugu versus the European Yurugu, okay? My point is that the term Pan Africanism is a European thought process. Is what I'm trying to tell you. If we would want to keep it a buck, calling yourself a Pan Africanist is a European mind frame. It's not an African mind frame. You understand what I'm saying? The African mindset is a practical one. You do with what you have where you are. That is the African way. The African way is not calling yourself an ism and then operating under a theoretical mode. That is not an African way. The African way is doing, and other people who see you do, and they're doing like you naturally join together. The African way is not saying I'm a ism, Pan-Africanism or feminism, and then saying, you know what, I'm going to move based off of a theory instead of based off of a practical movement that benefits me. And so that's where I'm saying there's a pushback. And so I don't even have to have a problem with the individual Pan-Africanist. I got a problem with the idea that I got to label myself in the European mold of identifying any and everything, right? Even theoretical ways of being, and then feeling I gotta operate by it instead of just doing what just comes natural and not having to name it at all. You see what I'm saying?
All right. Yes, I understand what you're saying, and those your ideas are valid, and but it has to be a transition. It's from Pan Africanism to some of the model you were talking about, because like in Pan Africanism, they use the term race land. That is a 18th, 19th century term. But personally, I know there's only one race on the planet, and we got a bunch of cultures. One race, many cultures. But most people not ready to deal with that. You see
Right.
what I'm saying? And then
Right.
we in the United States, but we're still classified 3/5. They never changed that judgment. So these are the things we have to look at. And so also when we talk about Pan-Africanism, you got to look at the thought process. They still caught in the 1920s. So you bring it to them a little bit better, they will evolve.
Thank
Or
you.
it's gonna die out one. And so actually it has been dying out. But we need to save the good points of it. Don't
Yeah.
just throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Exactly. Chew the meat, eat the meat, throw away the bones.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah.
But again, if you have labeled yourself something and you're willing to die for the label, just like you talk about the gang. Okay, I'm red, so I'm gonna die for red. I'm blue, I'm gonna die for blue. You know what I'm saying? So if you put a label on yourself, you won't allow critique or growth. That's just the nature of what you're doing. So what I'm saying is it's hard to evolve something that's not that's not being put forth in a way for evolution, because everybody's going to be like, okay, are you going along with the Pan African thought process? I'm like, what the fuck is that? Like, yo, man, I'm an African. That means I'm going to do what's practical and what's right and what's true. You know what I'm saying? I don't
And
need
not
to
only
follow none of
that,
this.
and we study what was done in the past and we critique it and see if we can learn from it. I give you an example, case in point. Kareem. Who is the most racist person on the scene, you would say, right now, alive in America? White man.
Joe Biden.
Okay, I love it.
That's a good. That's a
That's
good.
a good one. That's a good one.
He let off strong with that.
He led on strong with that one. Joe Biden. So, Joe Biden. So if Joe Biden, this, okay, I'm gonna say other than Joe Biden, because it's kind of, you kind of get threw me a curveball, because he's the president. So somebody who's not the president, give me another one.
So many of them.
Top dog.
Let me see. I'm gonna pass this over to him while I think of this. Yeah,
Okay,
throw out a name.
I'm gonna throw out a name. Throw out a name, Ian. Throw out a name. I throw out a name, Bill Gates.
Oh yeah,
And that's a good example because he's a eugenicist.
Yeah.
He's in the population control. So Bill Gates is the modern day Walter Plecker, right? Would you take money from Bill Gates?
It's funny you said that because I have an issue with the Gates Foundation, and I have an issue with people taking the Rhodes Scholarship.
Okay, bingo.
So
So you got an issue with the Gates Foundation. You got people taking money from the Rhodes Scholarship. What if Bill Gates gave money for black folks to pick up and move to Sierra Leone?
Woo.
Would you have an issue with that?
Go ahead, Kareem.
You would?
yes, because the money bring influence. I'm big on do for self finance.
Okay.
We should. I don't say I'm not even talking about like. Let me clear my Sierra Leone. It's not that we need to move to Sierra Leone.
Okay.
Not all of us. We need to. That's our international partnership because when we get that established, that opens up to the rest of the world. Because people don't realize the United States got a lot of restrictions going on when it comes to business. There's a lot of avenues and markets that we are cut out of.
Right.
The African Bitcoin they got over there that they trying to do for one Africa. That thing came off at 27 cents when they first opened up. It went up at 70. It's down to 61 cents. We can't even buy it over here in this country.
Yeah. Crazy. Stuff like that. It's crazy. Stuff like that. And I see, I'm with that. I'm with that. But you just proved my point on Marcus Garvey. Because Marcus Garvey was financed by Walter Plecker. And it's all through this writing right here about Marcus Garvey's relationship with the eugenicist of that time, which was Walter Plecker. So not saying that he intentionally knew it, but just like you said, he might not have been put up on game about this guy. But that's where we can learn from the past and say, okay, maybe we shouldn't be deifying folk, and we should be like, okay, these folks weren't perfect. We need to be able to learn from people and say, okay, this is what they did right. This is what they did wrong. This right here was not the move though. So I'm glad you was honest about that and said, no, you wouldn't rock with Bill Gates because you know that there's an ulterior motive there and he doesn't have the best intention for our people. But Marcus Garvey rocked with Walter Plecker and was financed by that man. So what does that say about that whole situation?
Well, one, we got to realize Garvey coming from another nation.
Right.
So he might have, we got line in time frames up. He might, there's a lot of times you meet the kindly old person who raised hell their whole life. And all you know is the kindly old person.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. So yes, you are correct. All our leaders are so-called appointed leaders, so we will never get no vote in this. We need to analyze them and look at the good and the bad. It's like with John Lewis.
Right.
And everybody loved John Lewis. I looked at his, I went to Congress.gov. He didn't put in, besides the Emmett Till bill, I didn't see anything pertaining to human rights or anything that's going to benefit black people.
Right.
True.
See what I'm saying? So when you say that, they get mad. He's our hero. Well, I don't know what that man did after he gave that speech. He was gone for 20-some years.
But see, that's the point. He's a Democrat. You can't challenge him because he's a Democrat.
But we can't worry about that.
Lord, I'm supposed to be working, y'all. I'm working on the sales page, and I saw
Can't do
y'all,
it.
and I was like, "What type of fuckery is going on tonight?"
Yeah. That's real though.
So, we got to look at it like that. We got to be able to analyze these people. And never been the case. So yes, we need critical thinkers, and we got to analyze.
Right. Absolutely. So we're not even gonna get to Buddy, who I wanted to get to.
But yo, Ray.
Yo.
Now see, bringing this all home, right, to the feminist aspect, right? This is why feminism and Pan Africanism are problematic. So again, going back to the movie Coming to America 2. In Coming to America 2, Eddie Murphy was going to bring peace between his nation and another African nation by doing what? By having his son marry the daughter of another nation, right? But what feminism said, we don't want arranged marriages, right? Feminism says we don't want the establishment of the king, the authority of a king, right? And the place of a queen, right? We want equality where these positions of king and queen no longer have the same meaning or value that they had before. So what I would suppose is what we really need to do. We need to start having real familiar and building family relationships with these people before we do anything. If we really believe what we say we believe, why don't we build family relationships with these people and then start from there? Because what I'm saying is, if we're talking about the African way, that is the African way. Families join up, then they start businesses based on the joint family connection. You understand what I'm saying? But feminism doesn't want that. Feminism doesn't want the establishment of the male and female position, king and queen. They want this equality where we do away with these gender roles, right, and these political gender roles to where we have a theory instead. So now it's like, okay, if you don't believe what I believe, we can't come together. But that's a complex way of building relationships, is saying you don't believe what I believe. You know what I'm saying? Because even the same principle, two people can still have different beliefs. That's why in Christianity you have a plethora of different sects of Christianity. So the idea that you can use theory to bring a unity is not an African way. The African way is either you have two people who are building, want to do business, or you have two families that start to intermerge. But feminism wants to do away with the validity of gender roles in family and gender roles as political and national positions.
All right. I would say that feminism, we don't blown our conversation because it's a construct that's not even for us. That's a European problem. And we already addressed it. Once we demonstrate, it will fall down out of our community. But now, if we say the African way, then we must go back to that the kingship, the throne, passed through the woman. So, you marry into the royalty over there. In a lot of the places, except for down, I think in South Africa, when they have more patrilineal line. This is before the Arab invasion. So they were known as things like women. Most churches in Asia are not too fond of women. I'm talking about from the UK to the China and Korea. They're not too fond of women. But nowhere else in America, over here, the Native Americans, the women pick the king. See what I'm
Yeah.
saying? The kings were picked by the women who be best for the country. It wasn't about who's the strongest. That's a barbarian mindset. So a lot of this stuff we have to purge ourselves while we moving forward. Like we take some of the stuff in Pan Africanism, we step forward. We got to just throw that feminism in the trash because it's really about equality. But we all have different roles.
We have
That's what
different
I
roles,
believe
exactly.
feminism has it messed up at is that they want everybody to have the same role. We have masculine and feminine principles, and the whole universe do. These are universal laws, and we need to abide by them.
Yeah, and I think it's just like I go back to the chessboard. The chessboard. You got the king and the queen. It's a co-rulership. That's the most dangerous thing. Strong black relationships, man. Strong, actually strong black heterosexual relationships, because then you can produce, you know? So I'm not going to go into this, but when you get a chance, Kareem, check it out. William and Mary, Strange Bedfellows, Eugenicists, White Supremacists, and Marcus Garvey in Virginia from 1922 to 1927. So, yeah, check it out, man. Like, it's that real. We got to be able to analyze and say, okay, this is this is what was done wrong, this is what was done right, and be able to move forward. But we got to do things differently than how they were done in the past. But with that being said, y'all, I think this is a great show. We're not gonna get into Buddy though. I wanted to get into Buddy, but it's already midnight. So, have you come across uh this young guy? What's his name? King. What did I title this show? King. Uh, this guy right here, King Randall. Look him up, check him out, and I'm gonna do a show. I'm
Part
gonna do
two.
a show. I'm gonna do a part two on him, and I want to get y'all opinion on the brother. But I believe he's a do for selfer. But I want y'all to check him out. I like to have y'all opinion on him.
Okay.
All right. So Kareem, man, holla at
Salute,
me,
Kareem.
man. You know,
Salute.
hope to have you on. Thanks, Kareem, man. It was a great show. Ian, it was a great show.
Salute.
And I'll holler at y'all next time.
All right. Love and peace. Appreciate you, bro. All
Yes, indeed, man. Peace and love, man.
right.
All right, take care. All right, Kareem. Peace, man. Thank you.
Peace, Kareem.